It is my great honor to introduce Dr. Annabel Latham, our speaker for this keynote today. So Dr. Annabel Latham is a senior lecturer at the Department of Computing and Mathematics at Manchester Metropolitan University, UK. She is a senior member of the IEEE, the chair of the IEEE UK and Ireland Women in Engineering Affinity Group, the chair of the IEEE Computational Intelligence Society Education Repository Committee, and a STEM ambassador. Her research interests under the Computational Intelligence Lab include conversational agents, intelligent tutoring systems, big data, text mining, agent intelligence, and knowledge engineering. Her main research focuses on applying computational intelligence techniques to automate tutoring systems in order to improve access to and support success in personalized learning. Annabel is passionate about promoting the power of computational intelligence and AI to improve our lives, and enjoys discussing the benefits and ethical risks in her role as a STEM ambassador through outreach work, including invited talks, panel discussions, media articles, science festivals, school visits, and organizing events and boot camps. As chair of IEEE Women in Engineering for UK and Ireland, her aim is to change the face of computer science by challenging stereotypes and promoting careers in computing and engineering to young girls and women. In 2019, Women in Engineering UK and Ireland won the IEEE Region 8, which includes Europe, Africa, and Middle East Women in Engineering Group of the Year Award, bringing publicity and recognition to their work. Without further ado, I'd like to leave it for you, Annabel.
Thank you very much. And hello, lovely to be here. Thanks. I'm sorry I'm not in sunny Dublin. Let's imagine it's sunny, but I'm here instead. But never mind. Thanks ever so much for inviting me to talk at this conference. I'm going to talk a little bit about, I guess, the context of diversity in our industry, and by which I mean technical industry, and then look at some opportunities and things you can get involved in and things that you can do. And hopefully you will find something you can join in with. So I will share my slides, hopefully. Please do let me know if you can't see them. So it says I'm sharing, so I'm hoping you can see them. So inspire, encourage, engage, empower. That's part of our strapline at Women in Engineering. And I change the world, I'm an engineer is one of our straplines too. And it's something I firmly believe in and I'm really passionate about. I think we do change the world and that's a fantastic thing. So I'm really happy to be doing what I'm doing. Yeah. So I'm going to talk a little bit about challenges and opportunities. I'm not actually going to talk very long. There's lots of statistics on challenges and issues we face. I'm going to focus more about what the IEEE is all about, what Women in Engineering is about, and what volunteering in any aspect or just taking action can do to help us change the culture, change the environment we live in. So towards a balanced and diverse technical workforce. Now, diversity obviously includes more than gender, but as I'm chair of Women in Engineering, I'll probably just keep referring to women, but I'm really talking about diversity overall. What I'd like you to do is be a little bit active during this session. So I would like everyone to write down 3 things that you're going to do, that you're going to act upon, that either improve your career, push you forward, change and improve diversity in your environment, do something. And I'm going to do it too, because this sort of thing never ends. You know, we're always trying to improve and change. So we'll all write down some actions, and then if we run out of questions at the end, then we can share them, see what we think. Okay, so I'll just give you a quick outline of what I'm going to talk about. I'm going to first of all just tell you a little bit about me, who I am and what my career looks like. Then I'm going to, like I said, I don't want to focus on challenges, but I am going to just put into context the current challenge. I'm going to try and do that for UK and Ireland. Some of the figures aren't just for UK, but there's lots of different statistics, all slightly different as we know about statistics. So we'll just really to give us context about what we are talking about and what the business case looks like for diversity. And then I'll just give some quick ideas about opportunities, but I want to go into IEEE and what we do. And a lot of the things that we do and are engaged in, you don't actually need to be a member of IEEE to get involved in. So I'm talking about IEEE and Women in Engineering, and I'll tell you about some of the events and activities that we do across the UK and Ireland. We've got an active committee, and you can sign up to some if you like, and how you can join in. And things like the new awards that I announced last week are open to everybody. You don't have to be an IEEE member. So don't feel that I'm trying to exclude anyone. I'm absolutely not. I'm just quite passionate about this organisation that I'm a part of, the IEEE. Okay, so a little bit about me. Hanan has already very kindly told you an overview of what I do. I hate looking at photos of myself, but I've learned it is my duty as a woman in a technical field to stand up and be visible. So I do lots of different outreach events, and those photographs are me doing various things. I work at Manchester Metropolitan University in Manchester in the UK. I am a STEM ambassador, which is a UK scheme, and I think you have something similar in Ireland, but it's a different name, which basically involves trying to encourage school children and to go into schools and to do careers talks, to do workshops. I've done a kind of speed dating type thing where they find out about your job. I've done all kinds of really fun stuff at schools, and that the STEM Ambassador Network links people in STEM with schools to do that, to try and encourage the uptake of science, technology, engineering and maths. I know it's called other things. I was in Germany doing a visit a couple of years ago, and they call it MINT there, which I think is quite nice. And then I'm also chair of the Women in Engineering for the UK and Ireland section, and I have been for a couple of years, and I'm really passionate about pushing forward. We've made some great strides this last year. Right, so first about me. I was brought up, although I'm English, as you can tell from my accent probably, I was brought up overseas, moved around an awful lot. I went to 7 different schools. So I was brought up, the first one is Norway, the second one is Holland, the 2 key places that shaped me. So I had quite a varied environment. I had quite a sense of adventure, and I was used to moving very frequently and meeting lots of different people, which I think has been a great benefit to me. I then came to Manchester in the UK to go to UMIST, which has now merged with Manchester University. It's a science university that used to be there. And I then, after graduating in computer science, I went into industry. Academia wasn't a thing that I was, even thought of really. So I worked for lots of different financial software houses. I worked for a small company called IBIS, and I had lots of varied roles in this, but I wasn't coding. Although I did a very software heavy degree, in my job, I did lots of going out, meeting people, project management, technical writing, training people, all that kind of thing, which I really enjoyed actually. It was quite varied. I then worked for a bigger company called Multisoft. I think all of these companies have been bought by Sage these days, but as happened in the 90s. But that was another financial, much bigger companies, big mainframe computers. So that was, again, similar sorts of work. I then joined the National Computing Centre in the UK, which was set up by the government to kind of promote computing in the 60s, but it still had a role to play. So I joined their education department, and I did lots of different international travel. I managed qualifications. I worked with universities in computing. So it was a great job, and I really loved it. Why did I then decide to change? Because I had a little boy, a little baby, who I didn't want to leave for a month while I went off to Singapore, Malaysia to do my job. So I decided to change career. So the reason this is in a big circle as opposed to a line is that my career has been not a typical do this, do a master's, do a PhD, turn into a lecturer job. So I went back to university actually to work there. And while I was there, I had a little girl, another baby. And I actually worked at Manchester Met, where I'm currently based. That's our old logo. rebranded a few times since. Then I decided that I was quite enjoying the odd lecturing that I was doing, so I decided to return to study. Quite a big decision in terms of finance, obviously, having two small kids, really tiny kids, and time, I guess. So quite a lot of challenges there, but I just thought, and I was mostly inspired by my daughter actually, I just thought, this is something I want to do. I shouldn't let anything stop me. I want to show my daughter that it's possible. So I studied at Manchester Met University in computer science. I got a master's and then a PhD there. Which was great. Then I got a job as a lecturer at the University of Liverpool. And then I came back to Manchester Met, so I didn't have to drive too far. And that's the job I'm still in today, which I absolutely love. So I'm really passionate about my job, and you'll find many people who've changed career partway through. It's not an easy thing to change career. You know, it's got a financial impact, just starting again at the bottom. And, you know, it's big change. However, you'll find most people who've changed career are really passionate about their second career. So the reason I like to put this diagram up, especially when I do talks to schools, is to show, I think a lot of pressure goes on quite young people in choosing the subjects they want to study, and they kind of think that's it for life. And I just like to show them that's not true. You can change your mind. We're in a very fortunate position in this region of the world where we have the opportunities to do that. Right, so a little bit about my research, then I'll stop talking about me, I promise. So my research is in computational intelligence. So in IEEE, I'm a member of the Computational Intelligence Society. And my core research is in intelligent tutoring systems. So having an automated tutor behave like a human and understand what's being said. And that's done using natural language, conversational agents. These systems automatically profile learners and look at their learning styles and the things that they find more easy and efficient to learn, and then adapt to them. So it's kind of like having a one-to-one tutorial. So the idea is, I've linked it at the top there to the UN Sustainability Development Goals, quality education and reduced inequalities. The idea is that this is a really flexible way of learning, not to replace humans, because I'm very much in that job. I don't want to replace myself, but as a way of widening participation, enabling participation for groups that can't access specific locations at specific times, that want flexibility, and to widen that across the place. I also then work, so I delve quite a lot into conversational agents. So chatbots you'll be very familiar with, and you'll be very familiar, I'm sure, with their limitations. So I've worked a little bit on developing agents and on how we can improve their understanding of natural language, what humans want. We've looked as well at text similarity, so coming up with a number to say what text is similar, and that was for big data processing, tweets, and some sort of clustering. We've done some psychological profiling as well. So Hendrix there uses my Oscar system at the bottom, uses the natural language and the interface behavior to profile people. Hendrix uses a webcam and looks at tiny changes in people's face to see if they're having difficulty understanding. So again, trying to be human-like and adapting based on the understanding of the face. I also, therefore, look quite a lot at the ethics of AI, about what people find creepy and weird and what people are happy with and people aren't happy with. And I do quite a lot of outreach as well, discussing that with the general public. It's quite a popular topic at the moment, and there's no proper laws really to cover it. There's a lot of guidelines for a lot of organisations. And I also, because I teach strategic information system use, I've done some research in the strategic use of social media. Okay, so I want to just touch on the context of diversity in our field. I'm sure it's not something that we're all unfamiliar with, because we all work in a technical field. I wanted to start by trying to define what we mean by diversity. And as I said, I probably will tend to focus on gender just because that's my role here in IEEE. However, I'm very much aware that this lack of diversity applies to different minority groups. It applies across the board to different aspects, let's put it that way. So I use this word cloud to try and incorporate a definition. There's lots of definitions. I think we all have an idea of what we mean by it. And I just wanted to make clear that although I probably will focus on gender, that there are many other diversity needs in our workplace. So business case for diversity. This is from a report by McKinsey 2020, and it does quite a lot of studies actually, but this is looking at both gender diversity and ethnic and cultural diversity in corporate leadership, and it found that companies in the top quartile for gender diversity on their executive teams are 25% more likely to have above average profitability than those in the fourth quartile, i.e. the people who strive for diversity seem to be more successful. And you can please look at the analysis, which I think was done in 2019. It's a fairly well quoted fact that teams that are diverse outperform others. So there's a fact there by Deloitte, 80%. Like I say, statistics, you get lots of different values. In computer science, which is my field, we always work in teams. So having more diversity in teams is really important just for the functioning of the team. So there's a very big business case, in other words, for diversity. It's not just a kind of bandwagon to jump on. There's a fairly well researched difference in terms of performance and in terms of profitability. Women in Technology is another organisation, and like I said, there are quite a lot of organisations which looked at by surveying. This is the 2019 survey as well, and it found a lot more than this. I didn't want to just put loads of stuff on the slides. So the gender pay gap is real. These looking at reasons why there is a lack of diversity in technology. Women are in the minority, so 19% of the technical workforce, 77% of tech directors are men, Tech Nation report found. And it also found, which I thought was quite interesting to put up, that gender imbalance in technology is equal across all organisations, regardless of what size they are. So small organisations, large organisations, there's just no difference. Okay. And then I think my nearly final slide on gaps is looking at gender gaps, and it's from CIO magazine / journal. I'm not sure what it falls into. I use this source in my teaching anyway, so it's pretty well respected. And it came up with all these different gaps. Okay, gaps in employment when employing and recruiting different genders in technology, gaps in going for STEM degrees and achieving them, gaps in retaining staff, etc. You can read all of those. But one thing I've kind of put information in, which I thought was quite interesting, is the pandemic gap, which found that women in tech were almost twice as likely to have lost their jobs or been furloughed during the pandemic than men. So 14% versus 8%, which I think is shocking. I mean, based on an already underrepresented group, it's really, really quite shocking. Maybe not surprising, but yeah, there's a few studies on this now, which I think are a worrying challenge for us who are trying to change the face and trying to make our workplaces more diverse. And then finally, from BCS Women, British Computer Society Women, I got this really cool infographic and by someone called Jo Stanfield. And what she was trying to express is that most of us say, whose problem is this? Whose problem is this diversity problem? Oh, well, it's the companies, they're not hiring enough. Or, oh, well, it's the schools, they need to get people into STEM subjects more quickly, or they need to focus more or push these subjects. But actually, it's a kind of life cycle thing is what was found. So the issue of diversity starts really young, and you can see this, and I've seen it in my own children, and I have a daughter and she dropped computer science. What can I say? you can see it really young in terms of stereotypes, in terms of toys, choices of toys. So when children get to the age where they start to choose toys, they kind of seem to change and choose a kind of culturally acceptable toy. And maybe that involves because they're going to nursery and meeting other people, and maybe that's the case in the family and the culture we're in, I don't know. But I've noticed this myself with some horror. At age 7, already children are expressing expectations of roles that are gendered. So no matter how difficult, no matter how much we try to bring up our children without any of this, it just happens anyway because of the culture and society that we're living in. In school, only 22% of computing students are girls. You know, that's the sad fact of it. And what drives me crazy at university is that we're a department of computing and maths. In computing, we have about 19% girls. In mathematics, which in my mind is kind of very similar, half. So I cannot understand. It's only a cultural reason that I can see. And I know from doing my own outreach, when I'm speaking to kids in primary school, they have an equal interest and excitement about technology. As soon as they hit 13, 14, that changes hugely, and it has to be a kind of socialization issue. Anyway, 16% of Eng and Tech undergrads are women. A-level, it's 15%. And then if we look in our workforce, we've got 12% of women are engineers, 17% in technical roles. 18% in tech roles are in an ethnic minority, however, only 2% are black. Only 5% of tech leaders are women. 9% of IT directors are in an ethnic minority. So it's kind of a widespread problem, and it's across the whole life cycle, in summary. Okay, that's all I want to say on challenges. I think probably just looking around and reading, there's lots of statistics, lots of news articles that you can find, and they all have similar types of statistics, slightly different, but they all tell the same story, which is that we aren't diverse in our technical field. So I want to focus for the rest of my time on opportunities for change, and I want to talk about things that have been meaningful to me and things that have, you know, captured my interest and that I've acted on and worked towards. But first of all, I want to, this is just a few actions that I think people can just take, not hard actions. I want to just stress though that everybody can affect the future success of the organisation in which we're talking about, the one you work in, the one you study in, the organisation of the family, the organisation of the religious group or community group you're involved with. Every single person has the power to affect the future success of that organisation, is my strong view. So there's lots of different actions depending on whether you are an organisation, an employer, whether you're a university, whether you're a worker, whether you're a parent, whether you're a child, that you can do. And I think we can all do in terms of peer support. So recruit widely is quite an obvious one, I guess, but yeah, surprising how difficult. I've led the Athena Swan project, which is about trying to get more women into academia in science and engineering, STEM subjects for our department. And we made some changes to the recruitment process, but still overwhelmingly men are recruited. There are specialised women in tech recruitment agencies. A Women in Tech organisation whose study I talked about earlier links with organisations to actively promote and recruit to a female audience. So it's actually taking action on that. Secondly, actively encouraging career progression. I was in an event last week where we were talking about academic career progression. And one thing that my university does do, although the you know, the opportunities are there for everyone, the fact is fewer women apply. There's lots of studies on this. Fewer women apply unless they think they are 100% able to evidence they can do the job. So we do things like female career progression workshops, where we have speakers who are people who've gone to professor, who've gone to senior management, who've gone to reader, who talk about their journey and why they didn't apply and how long it took them and what they did when they were failed and they had to be resilient. So activities like that are actually really very supportive and can change the uptake of career progression. Also, just saying to somebody, you know, you work with, why don't you do this? I recently got asked to go for election for a sort of senior position in the Computation Intelligence Society, and I never even entered my head to do such a thing. I did it because I was asked. I wouldn't have done it otherwise. So just saying to people, why don't you go for this? I think you can. How can I help you? We can all do this. Share your passion for technology. I'm a big fan of talking about technology to people, probably some not interested, but you know, I think technology, that I'm an engineer, I change the world. I really believe that. And I think talking to kids, talking to people I know, talking to, doesn't matter the age, doesn't matter what their job they're in, talking to them about what I do and why I think it's important, I think can really change people's minds. Challenge stereotypes. So do that by, if you're in a minority, kind of standing up and being recognized, going for awards just a bit later on, you know, letting yourself be photographed for the website, letting yourself, posting things on LinkedIn, things that you might not necessarily normally do. Mentor and be mentored. There's an opportunity I'll talk about later from IEEE, even if you're not a member, to be mentored. Mentors are just fantastic. They don't suit everybody, I recognize that, and you have to get the right mentor. But I have several mentors. I have a research mentor who's someone in a completely different field, a professor who pushes me and makes me set myself targets that I wouldn't do otherwise. I have different mentors for different things, for teaching and learning, for example. Nominate and apply for awards I added in there at the end, because there are lots of awards. There's awards for employers, there's awards for people, for promoting diversity, and you've basically got to be in it to win it. So just go for it. And it's something I need to pick up on myself. And get involved, which leads me on to my bit about IEEE. Get involved, network, talk to people. That's how we can act, and that's how we can change our environment. So let's check how I'm doing for time. Okay. So the IEEE, who co-sponsors this conference, I just want to say a couple of words about them in case you're not familiar. We are the world's largest technical professional organisation for the advancement of technology. And the reason I think they're fantastic is this second bullet point. We are dedicated to advancing innovation and technological excellence for the benefit of humanity. I'm a really strong believer in the fact that what I do can benefit humanity, can change the world for the better. And actually in the current pandemic, computer science, as well as other technologies, biological sciences, have really come to the fore in terms of how amazing we can be at this and how humanity can be improved with a big push. A little bit about IEEE just in pictures. So they're our technical organisation. You probably, if you know them from conferences or from technical standards. They've got a lot of local sections, like UK and Ireland is one, so over 340. Got over 400,000 members, so that's a really big network of people. And they have lots of technical societies, over 39. Like I said, I'm in computational intelligence, and they have a large library of technical articles. They've fairly recently, promoting and pushing to the fore their diversity statement that everyone has to sign up for. And I have to say, in the event last week, we had the president of IEEE, who is a woman, and we have our section lead, who is a woman as well. So this is really fantastic. You wouldn't find that in many organisations, so it's great. I'm not going to read that to you, but I'm just highlighted in black some of the important bits. So to be able to benefit humanity, we believe that this requires the talents and perspectives of people with different backgrounds. Okay, so we're committed to advancing diversity in technical professions and promoting an inclusive and equitable culture. And that goes throughout the whole of the IEEE. And I'm delighted to see the keynote speakers for this conference are balanced in terms of, certainly in terms of gender. It's fantastic. And it's becoming more common, which is great. IEEE intends or aims to cover the whole life cycle. So that kind of life cycle of challenges that I put up. There's this really interesting new site called Try Engineering. Lots of free resources for teachers, for volunteers, for STEM activities. You can do them with your own kids, for students to try, just explore engineering. And this is all electrical engineering. So it's, you know, it's not engineering in terms of plumbing. We're trying to explain to people what it is we do, what it is that makes the world around us work. So please do go to that. Like I say, it's all amazing stuff, and it's all free, of course. And then secondly, for people of career age, we have something called IEEE Collaboratech. So this is also open to non-members. You do not have to be a member to join, and it enables a platform to find people, to network, to collaborate, to find a mentor. I think they post job opportunities. You can upload your CV. So it enables you, and this is worldwide, of course, to look for people interested in your interests and to, you know, ask them, please, would you mentor me? I want to do X. I'd really like to be like you in 10 years or something. So please do look that up. Like I say, you don't have to be a member to use it, which I think is fantastic. Okay, that's all I'm going to say about IEEE. I want to talk now about women in engineering. So overall, Women in Engineering is the largest international professional organisation that is dedicated to promoting women engineers and scientists. And again, that second bullet point, key, because it's not just about women. And we envision a vibrant community of IEEE women and men who collectively use our talents to innovate for the benefit of humanity. We're recognising there that it needs everyone to be involved to create a better future. So that's our vision for the world. Probably, oh, those are the same things. I don't know how that happened. Yes, I'm not going to read it again. It links obviously to the UN Sustainability Goal 5 of gender equality, and to looking at making sure that everyone has a choice about what they want to do in terms of their job role, and that choice is right for them. So our mission is to facilitate the recruitment and retention of women in technical disciplines globally. Some numbers for you, check the timings. In 2021, we had over 900 women in engineering affinity groups worldwide. So ours is an affinity group in UK and Ireland, but we also have women in engineering student affinity groups but based at particular universities as part of student chapters. We are present in over 100 countries, which is just incredible if you think about it. We have over 20,000 members in Women in Engineering, all working towards that goal. There are some global events. So there's an annual International Leadership Conference. There are regional summits. We're in Region 8 here in the UK and Ireland. And there's lots of local events. It says 700 plus. There is a magazine, 2 issues a year. And at the top there, connect, support and inspire. That's what we're aiming to do. So I change the world. I'm an engineer, I think is the most interesting and useful strapline, and I use it wherever I can. So a little bit now about our UK and Ireland committee and events that are coming up, and awards that I announced that you can apply for, please, or nominate a colleague or a friend. So that's our committee. We are very active. There are 9 of us, as you see. We're all quite friendly. no, we're all very friendly. Maeve is in fact based here in Dublin. Say here, I'm pretending I'm there. Ruth is based in Ireland as well, and then we're based across the UK. We're still looking for Welsh and Scottish committee members, because we do think it's really important that we have a representation on our committee everywhere. We have had them, but they have had life changes and moved on. So yeah, if anyone's interested, please, if you're based in Wales and Scotland, but in any case, please email me. That little plaque there is our award that we won in 2019. So we won Affinity Group of the Year for Region 8, which is Europe and Africa, is it? Europe, Middle East and Africa. Should know that. For our outstanding personal and career achievements and noteworthy support and inspiration for women in the profession. So a really fantastic award that we're really proud of, and that's based on all of our events that year. What's happened obviously fairly recently is that a lot of our work focused on outreach, on student events, on school events. And with the pandemic, we've changed that. So we've done a lot more online, and we've focused more on our membership as well. So recent activities, I'm not going to list them all because it would be too many to talk about. I'm going to talk in a minute about our ambassadors scheme that we launched this year to extend our network of volunteers and to recognise their work. We also announced some awards last week, which deadline is September. So I'll talk to you a bit about those in a moment. We've done quite a lot of events online, and our reach has actually extended with the pandemic with our online events. It's made it much easier for people to join in. So that's quite an interesting thing. We did challenges and opportunities last week. We had the IEEE president talking at that. You can watch recordings of all of these if you're interested on our website. And we have technical events. We do joint events with chapters, so technical chapters. So we're doing one next week, which again, please sign up to and come, called The Power of Data, looking at collaborating data science and power and energy engineering. So it's a few short talks and then a networking opportunity. We've had a senior membership drive. So being a senior member of IEEE requires 3 references and a certain level of activity in your technical field. We've pushed and supported people and coached and mentored them into becoming senior members, women in engineering members. So we've got quite a lot more female senior members this year than we did previously. We do push for gender diversified panels and keynotes at all IEEE meetings, conferences and events, including our own. This does involve us pestering and nagging and sending emails to people at conferences. As I said, this conference is amazingly diverse, so it's fantastic to see. To support that activity, we are collating a database of female keynote speakers in technical areas. So again, if you would like to be considered to go on to that, please do contact us. The more the merrier, because you know, diaries are full. We do a lot of public events, so I do a lot of science museum, science week type events for the general public, and I've done a few focusing on ethics recently, which is quite interesting to have a chat and to explain and see people's views. Ethics of AI. We do a lot of schools outreach, like I said, careers talks, after school club talks and workshops. And we've got a poster campaign. We have posters. If you'd like to be on one, please do contact us. We love to, everywhere we go, every school we go to, we leave posters there for them to put up, because visibility is a key part of challenging stereotypes. And there's us doing some of our things that we do. Talking to school kids, giving talks, sitting on panels, doing posters, attending conferences, etc. Okay, so ambassadors is our new scheme. We launched it on the 8th of March to celebrate International Women's Day, and it's because we have a lot of volunteers. We are all quite busy and we're quite an active committee. So to develop a network of women in engineering ambassadors who can be supported. We offer mentoring, they can propose projects, we support projects, they support projects, work quite closely with the Women in Engineering Committee. We look at supporting and organising events and activities, and they've done quite a lot so far actually. I think they've got 4 this year, which considering we only marched a couple of months ago is amazing. So it's, as well as supporting the development of our ambassadors themselves, who may be students, who may be young professionals, who may be people with time who want to volunteer, doesn't matter really. We have various workshops that we do. Dr Nagam is pictured there, is our committee lead for Women in Engineering Ambassadors. So she's the person to contact. Anyone who wants to be one, please do contact us and we can all work together to put on lovely events. Here's some events we've done. So we did some early career talks, technical talks, 8th of April, challenges and opportunities, had a series of different industry and academia speakers and IEEE. And next week, as I said, we've got our Women in Engineering joint with Women in Power, Data Science Meets Power and Energy workshop. And there's always networking involved in this. And it's a great way to meet people and hear about things and offer ideas as well. And then in October, I think based in Ireland, we've got lightning talks from academia and industry on the 26th of October. So more information about that or about our ambassadors program or anything we do can be found on our website. We're also on Facebook and LinkedIn. And there is a photograph from last week's event of all the speakers. Kathy Land there is at the top left, top second left, next to Naga. So the recording is available for you to watch. So our award scheme, new for this year, we've just announced it, and we hope to get a diverse set of people. We are looking for geographical spread across the region. We don't just want to be centred on one area of the region of UK and Ireland. So we've got 4 awards for this year. We've got our award for excellence in engineering, and that is an award for excellence in a technical field with a consideration of encouraging the promotion of women in engineering. The second is Change Catalyst for Equal Engineering. So it's somebody who's working towards driving change in equality processes in an engineering or computing organisation. And we're looking for people who it's not part of their job. So not people in equality diversity roles, but technical people who are pushing this. Our third award, we are naming after a inspirational technical woman from our region. So Kay McNulty Irish award this year. And this is for someone who's early on in their career, who's someone who can demonstrate potential in their technical field. So that one we will probably favour female applicants. Not all of these are only for female applicants. And then finally, we've got Inspirational Volunteer Awards. So particular emphasis on promoting engineering and related technical fields, particular emphasis on encouraging girls and women to start their journey or stay in the field. So we're looking for nominations. You don't have to be an IEEE member, but someone who nominates you would need to be in that case, or if you are, then you can be nominated by others. And this information will be available very soon on our website. It might not be available yet, but it will be very soon, and how to apply. But the deadline, like I say, will be the beginning of September, and we will announce it at a conference later in the year, probably a distinguished lecture talk. That is one of our posters, and so anybody who would like to be on a poster, we love having pictures of different people doing different things, and just talking a couple of quotes about what they do, what their advice is, and why they do it. So I think it's a fantastic way just to stand up and show the different types of jobs there are, and the different types of people that can do them. So to find out more, we also have Twitter and we have a YouTube channel. I'm not very good at social media, so I don't know what they are, but I'm sure you can find us or email me and I will put you in touch with our promotions person. This is where our information is. That's the email for me. Please email if you want to get involved, if you want to have more information, if you want to offer to be one of our speakers, if you want to be on a poster or anything, really. We're really happy to hear from anybody. And like I say, it's quite important to us that we are spread geographically, because it's quite difficult when we're all working, not to include people who you know who are just right next to you, as opposed to spread around the region. So yeah, we definitely need somebody in our committee from Wales and somebody from Scotland to cover those two areas, not to cover the whole areas, but to represent and yeah, put on events there. Okay, so I changed the world. I'm an engineer. I strongly believe that this is true. And I asked you at the very beginning of my talk to write down 3 actions you will take to further diversity in your environment, whatever environment you're choosing to use as an organisation as that. So I would like to finish on that thought, and I hope that you have come up with 3 things that you can do, and it might just be furthering your career. That's fine. So thank you all very much, and I'll hand over to Hanan, I think, in case there's any questions.
Thank you so much for this great talk. A lot of things to think about, really. We actually have one of the audience who did choose the 3 things, so I'll get to this first, and then I have a question. So the 3 things is dedicate time to it 3 times a week, engage in upskilling, and find a mentor.
Brilliant, fantastic. Wow, that's quite committed. Mine are a little less than that. Well done, fantastic.
I'll give people more time to type in their 3 things, but meanwhile, would you share with me, your thoughts around what we can do kind of in a university level or an industry level? What is your top advices to give young girls, women in early career? How can we give them this, I don't know, this push, this, yes, you can do it, in a way, on a daily basis, not just in what we can change in our attitude, and I don't know.
I think for me, and this is a really difficult one because you're asking me how to change a culture here, and I don't have all the answers. But I think for me, one of the things I do not like to do is look at myself like I am now, or see myself in photographs. And I basically just thought, I've just got to get over it. I feel I have got a duty. I am a woman in science, and I have got a duty to stand up there and say, I'm a woman in science, I can do it, so can you. So that's why I like to volunteer. That's why I love to speak to school kids. And like I say, it's actually kind of loads of fun when you go to the primary schools, because there's an equal interest in what you're doing, whether you're doing a coding club or just talking to them about, you know, guess what job I do, or robots, or, you know, whatever. But, and then when you go to a secondary school, you'll get, I tend to, at the end of all my talks, I talk about my career, I talk about what it involves and, you know, why you might want to do it. And you might think you don't want to do it now, but you might realize later that actually you can do that, and you don't have to restrict yourself. And you get quite a lot of interesting questions. At the end of every talk, I have to tell you, I say, who wants to be an engineer? And I put my hand up, or an AI researcher, and maybe the teacher puts their hand up. And I usually get about 1 boy. No one else. And as I say, I've failed with my own daughter, but I don't think it's about telling people what they should do. I think it's just about standing up and saying, I love this. This is great. I'm changing the world. The world is different because of what we do. Why wouldn't you want to get involved? And everyone can choose their own thing. But yeah, I think it's a really big culture change for everybody. When I was visiting in Germany, I was asking about, you know, what they were doing about it. And I asked my colleague who was male, and he said, oh, you'll have to go and speak to female colleague, and I was just like, no. That tells me all I need to know here. That is not how it works. So yeah, I think go, you know, talk to, you know, if it's showing your gran how to use an iPad, do that. If it's, you know, it's just like, why is it difficult? It's not difficult. If it's standing up in front of kids, or if it's just chatting to your friends' kids and telling them about, you know, what, or asking them a question. Would you like a robot to be your friend? What do you think they would do? Would you like a robot to drive your nan to the hospital? You know what? And these kind of ethical conversations really are just really engaging, and there's so much to talk about.
Right.
I can go on forever, as you'd heard.
We have 2 more responses. So the first is again from an anonymous attendee. Make an effort to socialize with all of my team members and colleagues, and become more aware and educated about other cultures. Now that's a good one. That's really a common, not 3 things, but thank you from Cardiff have emailed you. So
I think that's a really big one. You know, especially during the pandemic, we've been back teaching since March in the UK because we teach science. And I've not seen a colleague for so long, but even when we're there full time, I don't know how often I see people in the room next door to me, and that is a good advice for everyone, really.
Right.
Go talk to someone.
So we're still waiting for more people to tell us your thoughts around what 3 things would you do. Back to my question. So it's a little bit different here, but I've seen women or students, like female students, who are really great at what they do, but then when they graduate, they don't have the courage to apply to jobs. So yes, the job market is not fair, but on the other hand, they don't apply for jobs easily, and I don't know why. So back to the education part. So how can we, I don't know, enable them?
Yeah, I think that I think that's where a great mentor comes in, and it doesn't matter at what level you're at, because recognizing, and I did this with all my students, most of whom are male, you know, they'll say, oh no, I'm no good at programming, so I'm not putting it on my CV. I'm like, you're doing computer science, you must have passed it. Put it on your CV, you know. And so the confidence thing is maybe an age thing, or, you know, not necessarily, I don't think it's necessarily gendered, but I think having someone who is there who says, you can do it, absolutely, what can I do to help you? Or I often say to my students, and I do talk about this quite a lot, and I often say to them, there's a lot of companies out there who have this as an action. They want more diversity. They actively go out. And things like the female-only recruitment agencies, they've got lots of case studies on there. They've got opportunities for mentoring, just asking for someone to read over your CV and just helping and having the confidence. I think that I know with some of my students now, especially in things like the games industry, is very male-oriented. So the culture itself is probably quite off-putting. I've had some students who have said that about going on to be a developer, but then I've had others who it's not been, you know, it's not, and everyone's individual, aren't they? But I think standing up, if you're in that kind of quite male environment, and saying, well, I don't think that's right, or couldn't we do it this way, is quite hard to do. But I do feel we have a duty. If we're doing that, it is our duty to help along other people, and to change it, and that, you know, people can't be expected to necessarily understand someone else's view if you've never told them what it is. So, you know, it takes a little bit of bravery, and I think that's where a mentor can come in, because they can support you and offer you advice, maybe even tell you what to say, you know, write it down. My mentor makes, you know, I have actions, and every time I say, oh, I'm really sorry, I've not done it, I will definitely do it. And then, but you know, if you don't have an action and someone making you accountable for that, then you're very much less likely to do it. I think. Shall I share my 3, and then I'm going to ask your 3, Hanan?
Go on.
So my 3 actions I'm going to take are, one of them is I'm going to go on to Collaboratech, which, although I'm an IEEE member and I probably have a profile on there, you know, I don't know, it might be 5 years since I've been on. So I'm going to go and do that, because that seems mad for me not to have that set up. I'm going to post more on LinkedIn. So again, this comes down to not wanting to kind of, I don't know if it's show off or, you know, not wanting to put yourself out there, but actually I should. And I'm also going to apply for the Women in Engineering Award this year. So I think we should as a group. Yeah, so those are my 3 that I'm definitely written down. I've told everyone now I have to do them.
So we have actually 3 from Dr. Cyril. So encouraging, mentoring, and supporting, taking an interest in women in engineering, women in technology, either in work or otherwise, would be mine. So thank you for sharing.
Fantastic. Yeah, great.
So I haven't written mine myself, which is a shame. But
especially since I warned you early.
Yeah, exactly. But I think mine would be seeking to have a mentor, as you said, be accountable for, and work on a little bit of publicity and engaging in more women in tech things or conferences or so. These would be my top of my list.
Good, yeah. And I think, like I say, as you're a woman in tech anyway, any of this kind of, you know, I don't know, personal branding, whatever they like to call it, is actually starting to change culture. It's challenging stereotypical views of technologists. So anything like that, I think is great. Yeah. And not everyone will agree with you. I mean, I know from speaking to the public, I've had some quite big arguments with them, but you know, not arguments. but there we are. That's you can't change a culture one person, but everyone can do something.
It's one step at a time, I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, thanks a lot for this amazing talk and for all the ideas, the thoughts you share with us. It's a great honor to have you with us. So thanks again.